blog post today is all about willpower. So something I want to talk about in today's video is what is willpower, why is it so important, and why does it get tired? So first of all, I refer to willpower as that feeling when you say to yourself, I want to do A, but I know I should do B. So option A is usually something easy, fun, satisfying, is very gratifying in the short term, but doesn't have long-term benefits. Whereas option B, the thing that we're thinking, I should do this, it has long-term benefits, but not a lot of instant gratification, and it may be more of a challenge to do in the moment. It takes a little more upfront effort. And so what we want to do in our supporting of healthy behaviors, things that support weight loss or just in general a healthy lifestyle, is we want to make the easy harder and the harder easier. So those decisions that are just a breeze to make, like, yes, I'll have that donut, we want to make those decisions harder for you. So it's harder to say yes. They are not as available. They're not popping up as often. You're not having to use as much self-restraint in order to deal with those situations because they're just not coming up as much. It's not as readily available. On the other hand, we want to make difficult decisions easy. So the decision to do things like exercise, go to bed on time, eat vegetables, make healthy food choices, all of those things that are in our long-term benefit, majorly in our long-term benefit, but aren't necessarily easy for us to prompt ourselves to do in the moment. We want to make those easy, and not only easy, but easy to systematize so that you just do them over and over again to the point that they become a habit and they fade into the background. And the reason that we want these health-promoting behaviors to just fade into the background and become part of your everyday life is that willpower is a finite resource. It is like a muscle, and that, yes, it does get stronger with quality practice, but it doesn't get stronger just from being beaten up day in and day out. So if you're just constantly taxing your willpower, it doesn't get any stronger. It just gets fatigued and it's never there for you when you really need it. And I'll describe what I mean by that in a minute. So the idea is we want to save willpower so that it's not being used on all of these minutia type decisions all day long. We want to take a lot of decisions off the table by systematizing healthy meals through meal prep, a consistent exercise routine that happens at pretty much the same time every day, good sleep habits that support healthy executive function and decision making, and then finally having those good social support habits that are in our environment, like getting help with reducing your workload, reducing your stress, but also getting direct support for your healthy habits, having a personal trainer or a therapist or an accountability buddy or a group, people who help keep you accountable. We want to put all of these things on systems so that you don't have to think about them so much, so that they don't tax your willpower. And that's because we do want willpower to be strong and to be very adaptable and flexible for those times when we really need it, because those moments do come up. So let's say you're at a work meeting and somebody puts out the plate of pastries, and you know to yourself, you could probably eat like 3 or 4 of those pastries. And then that decision making has to get started of, well, maybe I can just have one, or maybe if I cut one in half, I can just have a half. This is a legitimate decision making process that you have to go through to decide if you're going to have 0, if you're going to have half of one, if you're going to have 1, if you're going to let yourself have 2. This is a decision making process that requires willpower. It requires you to use healthy, flexible self-restraint. So we want willpower to be fully available to help you make great decisions in the moment, in these situations where you're not totally in control of your environment, because we want the rest of your life where you are in control of your environment to be so streamlined and so easy that your willpower is not used in the minutia. It's saved for these more challenging situations that come up on a fairly regular basis. We just don't want it taxed all day long. So that's the idea behind willpower, is we want to make option A the easy option. We want to make that harder, more difficult, more inconvenient, less frequent, etc. And we want decision B, the decision that's in our best interest, to be less of a, I know I should do this, and more of just something that you do because you do it, because it's part of your life. And that takes repetition, it takes practice, it takes support, but you can do it.